Hey MTE, we are Ben and Erin Kadan, and we are the owners of Green Clean Detail Company and of Soul Narwhal, which is an evolution to our detailing company. We started in 2010 on the Gulf Coast detailing cars. We were at the time, well, do you want to talk about the vehicle and your situation 10 years ago?
So it was started not wanting to rely on fossil fuels. We were already burning vegetable oil in our diesel cars, and I started in an old diesel truck with a big alternator, and that ran all of my equipment. It smelled like tempura and donuts going down the highway, and it was great. And then, God, when did that happen? About 2015,
No, it was a little bit before that, but
Either way, it became a federal felony to use vegetable oil on highways, so we had to look for
alternatives. Yes,
And
we didn't want to go back to using gasoline for our power because not using a generator had so many benefits, but there was a lot of trial and error involved, I think, before we got to where we had like a working solar system that really powered all of the equipment. And that's kind of what we're here today to talk to you about, is operating your mobile company on solar power, how it's a possibility for you, and it is definitely something that you can do. It's something that you can make happen. We want to be a resource for you and to explain it. And if you have questions, definitely let us know. Or if you just want to talk about how you're doing this and how it's going, I love to hear stuff like that. And you can find us at Soul Narwhal on Facebook and Instagram, or soulnarwhal.com. Soul like the giant generator in the sky, narwhal like the swimming in the sea unicorn of the industry. And we love to hear about stuff like that. So that's what we're going to do today, is talk to you about how our solar system has worked and some of the benefits that we've found. And yeah, we're kind of going to go from there. And we hope that you have questions. Definitely let us know.
so we have a slideshow, and if you're following along, it starts explaining the cost benefits of running solar, which is
Right.
one, but a major component to it.
For sure. Yeah. So the generator, it's been a really long time since we've used a generator. And that's a really common question that we get. How much am I going to save? Like, I need a dollar amount that I'm going to save. I can give you a percentage amount that you're going to save, but we haven't actually used gasoline for our business in a really, really long time. Long story short, you're saving 100% of your fuel cost. You will not be buying any more fuel for a generator. You're not going to buy fuel for a pressure washer unless that's something that you're choosing to do, which I wouldn't necessarily understand, because the electric pressure washers even are so high power now, that you really don't need anything that runs on gas.
Not for cleaning cars.
No, certainly not. Yeah, and
So I did all the math off of my workload. So I would take one day off a week if I was lucky, and
sometimes
and I would work 10 to 12 hours a day, and I needed power for that whole time. And
yeah.
when you're running off of solar, you have your upfront cost, and then it doesn't matter your workload because you're always producing power. It's not going to cost anymore.
Yes.
The more cars you do, the more
you
save.
Absolutely.
And it drives that cost per car down.
Exactly. And that's kind of what the solar page is based on too, is your volume of work that you're doing. So we estimated it's costing us about 60 cents per car, and that was over
Well, that was doing one car a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but I mean, that's what, 6 hours? You have a 12-hour day.
Yeah.
It's almost free. It's kind of gross.
And yeah, and recouping the cost. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that with the line graph that's going to be in the slideshow. But that's what those first two slides are talking about. And I don't want to read them to you. You can read the slides on your own. But basically,
you can swap in your numbers for everything that's there and figure out what your local gallon price per gallon is, what you think it'll be in the next 25 years that your panels will be good for, and how much you're working every day.
Yeah. Okay. So then there is an analysis of some of the benefits of a solar system versus a generator, and so one of them is that aside from saving money on gasoline, you are silent. You are very, very quiet unless you are actually pulling the trigger on your pressure washer or have flipped the switch on the vacuum. You're totally silent. So you can go to neighborhoods at 5 o'clock in the morning and
No one
start
knows you're there.
early. And I used to get calls that would be like, "Hey, Ben hasn't shown up yet, but the car looks clean. I don't think I need him today." And I'd be like, "Oh, he was there 2 hours ago. You were just sleeping still. Thanks for leaving the car unlocked or hiding the key, you know?" And so that he was like, people would call him the car wash ninja because they didn't even know he had shown up. Or he could go to places like parking garages and do doctors' cars, and they might be in an operating room, and there would be no bothering the doctor, no having to go inside. Everything is just streamlined, and you're not making any fumes, so you're okay being in a parking garage, you're okay being in a hangar if you're doing airplanes.
Or even resorts, like, because we were on the beach, there were resorts that didn't allow contractors with generators.
You don't want that noise. Yeah, very true. So we were able to get into places that would have otherwise had their doors closed to us. And that is a huge benefit of the change that we noticed. Some of the other stuff, let's see. Let's talk just for a moment about the panel, because you had said that it'll last for 25 years. That's because they have a 25-year warranty on them, the ones that we use. We elect to use a residential style panel. Normally we live on the Gulf Coast. We live in Pensacola. That's not where we are today. But in Pensacola, we are in the line of a lot of hurricanes. And so it was a major consideration to be able to have a panel that we wouldn't have to worry about being damaged in a hurricane. And that's why we picked the residential one. The one that we use was one that was actually on houses and buildings in Panama City when Hurricane Michael hit 2 years ago, and they found these panels still bolted to chunks of roof
that ripped off the house,
like throughout the neighborhood, took them off these debris fields and then put them back onto the houses because there's nothing wrong with the panels, which is a huge benefit to them. They're rated for hail and a high wind events.
150 miles an hour wind, so even if you're going 80 miles an hour down the road and you have a 40 mile an hour crosswind or headwind, the panel is...
It's not going to shatter. It's not going to crack in half. Any of those kind of... Because we've had these questions, and it's just not a consideration. It's not something to be worried about. So that's talking a little bit about the panel, and then to talk about the next component that's really important in the system would be your batteries, because you're making power, you're driving around, and you need to store that power. Every stop that you're making, you're recharging. The whole way down the road, you're sitting in traffic and you're charging, which is a huge benefit, but now you got to store that power somewhere. And that's going to be not the next slide, but the next slide. So go ahead and talk about some options in batteries.
So I did a bunch of research into it, some trial and error, and we settled on lead acid batteries for their cost aspect and their longevity. Gel and...
lithium ion.
I was thinking absorb glass mat, but also lithium ion. Gel and glass mat will give you a little bit longer life, maybe about a year, but they cost 3 times as much. And lithium is rated up to 10 years, but it's a prorated warranty like your tires. If you use them halfway, they're not going to give you brand new tires. You get kind of like a credit for part of it.
So one of the components to the batteries that I really liked in our choice of using lead acid batteries, and in all of our research throughout all of this, I realized how wasteful most batteries are. The lithium ions are not at a point where they can be recycled, and the lead acid ones are like 99% recyclable. The battery acid is the only component that can't be recycled into a new battery. So that was a component for me, just knowing that I wanted to have a smaller impact on the world. But yeah, there are farther reaching positive notes to the lead acid ones. They're easily sourced. You can find them locally, so you're not, with lithium ion, we would have to have a proprietary battery, and you would have to come back to us to get that battery, and
then we would have to ship a 300, 400-pound battery. No, yeah,
we don't want to go into all of that. So we want this to be something that, like I said, if you're making this on your own, you can do that on your own. And that's how we want it to be. We want it to be something that you feel really comfortable with. You can swap out your parts. You can, if you're choosing to use us to install it, or if you're making it on your own, this is something that you're not going to have to really worry about. So anything else on batteries?
No, they're locally sourceable. They're easy. Yeah, you can, as they wear out, that's something that they can do in their anywhere in America. They're findable.
They're findable. Yeah, definitely. So if you're following along on the slideshow, the next one is going to be a line graph, and it's got a red line that shows gas
cost over time, and the green shows your solar cost over time. Your red line is going to start about half of your solar cost, but exponentially grows, and that's not taking into consideration over, I think it was 4 years, any maintenance that you have to do, or replacing your generator if you neglect to do said maintenance. So that red bar is just your gas cost. The green bar starts higher because your initial cost is higher, but it goes up a little bit, and that's because I factored in every 2 years replacing your batteries, which I get 3 to 4 out of caring for the batteries. But if you totally neglect them, run them into the ground every day, don't recharge them overnight, you'll have to replace them every 2 years, and you still come up breaking even at about 6 months, and then never coming close again after that.
Now again, that's going to depend on the volume that you're doing and the cost of gasoline where you're located when you're going to recoup this cost, but you're definitely going to recoup it, and it's not going to be like in 10 years. It's going to be a soon kind of a situation, and it doesn't even touch on your quality of life improvements that happen instantly. Yeah, you're not going to be working with a generator inside of your van anymore. You're not going to have those fumes whenever you're going from place to place. You don't have to, stop at a gas station, fill a jerry can, start the generator, find the equipment plugs, plug
it's so
into
much
the generator.
more than cost. We've done installs in places for over $4 a gallon where we didn't want to fill up the RV, and we've done installs at $1.60 a gallon where we wish we had extra cans.
Let's just drive around here a little while. Let's burn the gas. So it's not just the immediate economic cost of the gasoline. It's really a long-term economic cost to you, to your health, to your way of life, and to the value of your time, which is another component that is extremely important. Your time is money, and it's your most important resource. What you're doing with your time is like point A important in your life, and saving these little minutes of not going to the gas station, not filling those jerry cans. Lord forbid you've gone 2 miles into a neighborhood with 15 turns and you've run out of gas, and now the jerry can is empty and you have to pack everything up. It's just not, you'll never have that problem if you have a solar system. The power is already there. We've got a giant generator in the sky, and it's not going to stop making power during our lifetimes anyway. So
I hope not, because then we'll all die.
That's very true.
Never mind, not work.
Yeah, right. Hopefully the sun stays forever. So that kind of touches on the next slide, which was the day-to-day maintenance and more productivity. Then the next slide is green is the new black, and that kind of talks about how this is it's beneficial for your business's marketability, and it's also possible anywhere in the United States. It's got a little map on there, and what's that map showing?
The map shows the amount of sunshine that different regions receive over the course of a year. Now, granted, the southern part of the United States has more sun, but they are able to run scientific expeditions in the North Pole using solar because there is no power up there, and that runs all of their equipment. So even in the Northwest and the Northeast, you still get sunshine, you're still able to grow plants, and I don't know if you've seen solar panels popping up on people's houses, but it's
everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Definitely works. Yeah.
And we're able to get by with one panel down in Florida, but
if you are somebody who lives in the upper Northwest, for example, or in like the Ohio Valley, I'm from Pittsburgh. I know we get rain or cloudy days that'll last for 10 days of just cloudy, high stacked weather. Typically, you're not going to be detailing if the weather is really that inclement, but you might have to go out for a couple days whenever it is cloudy. And we actually created a solution to if you're not getting enough solar. So
the battery bank is big enough to work for a couple days that are cloudy, and it has a converter that you can plug into a regular outlet at your shop or home or your client's house and recharge the batteries while it's sitting there, so you're not totally out of power.
Yes.
Which is another thing. Recharging at night brings you back up to full batteries after working all day, because if you work from 5 o'clock till 7 o'clock, you're not leaving any time for your batteries to recoup from your daily work. Now, they're not going to be totally dead, but
it's better for the health of the batteries anyway to plug them into a 110 volt outlet and have them charging overnight and starting with them at float, as opposed to working off the solar panel all the time. It's just going to increase the longevity of your batteries, and it's a good idea. So if you're building a system on your own, that would be a component that you want to make sure that you have, is something where you can plug the batteries in and they're going to be charging overnight, as opposed to only relying on the solar panel. Just a longevity for the battery is kind of an issue. So the next part, is anything else on that?
No.
So the next part on this slide is going into markets. And I think we touched on this a little bit about going to parking garages, or if you have airplanes going inside of a hangar, you're not going to have the fumes and you're not going to have the smells. But other places that we realized are now accessible to us would be like a neighborhood at 5 o'clock in the morning where people are sleeping. You know, older people don't like to be woken up in the morning. Even less people who have very young children don't want their children woken up early in the morning. And so
people with nice cars normally have other people with nice things next door who
and
don't like being bothered.
They will appreciate you being quiet. They might appreciate you being quiet so much that you're now cleaning their 50-foot yacht, or that might be a small yacht actually.
Don't start doing yachts. But also it's a new trend is being eco-friendly, and as a side note, people are allergic to a lot of the chemicals. So if you've already transitioned into using safer chemicals for the interior of cars, using a safer power source is a bonus for people who care about stuff like that.
For sure. I myself personally did not ever care about cleaning my car, ever, even a little bit, until I married this guy and he started caring for my car. I am really sensitive to smells. I can't have like bleach kills me. I can't walk down the laundry aisle, and I am not the only person like me. So using more friendly chemicals and not using gasoline was really important to me, and I was unwilling to clean my car based on knowing about the impact of it. So yeah, there's definitely a market out there of people who are not bothering to get their cars cleaned, and you can advertise in like the green healthy lifestyle magazines, and that just increases your marketability. And those are people often like the Tesla drivers, you know, they want to have nice things, they want their car to be cleaned, but a higher concern for them is the environment and is their impact, and they care about that kind of stuff. So it's important as detailers for us to continue to evolve.
Yeah.
Jinx. Just kidding. Okay, so the next slide, we're almost done now. The next slide kind of talks about how we do these installations, and we have done a lot of them. We've put these panels on our RV. We have one on a little tiny sedan, our Nissan Leaf. We have them, we've done trucks,
Vans,
ambulances, a number of vans.
trailers.
But the system is very flexible. It can be mounted on pretty much anything. I think I mentioned that right now we are in South Dakota. We're in the Badlands. It is beautiful here. It's very sunny. And we are traveling the country to do these installations. If you're interested in having one, definitely drop us a line. You can find us at Soul Narwhal, Soul like the name of the sun, Narwhal like swimming in the sea, unicorn of the industry. And we would be happy to help you out. All right, so join the revolution, ditch the generator, and thanks for watching this whole video. Thanks MTE for having us for your educational seminar, and we hope that we can help some people to switch to solar energy.
And we'll see you in Orlando in 2021.
2021. All right, take care, guys. Thanks.